Guys, how's it going? So I'm in the Zen Den and I want to share my story with you guys. Um, right now in 2024, the end of 2024, I'm 55 years old. When I turned 50 years old, so much changed in my life. Just before I turned 50, I had gone to the hospital with a migraine, which I suffered from a lot. And it was the first time a doctor said to me, "What medication do you take? And how much do you take?" So I told him, and he said that I was almost overdosing every 6 to 8 hours when I would take the medication. And it was the first time I had a doctor say something like that to me to make me think, wow, what is the benefit of these pills that I'm taking? Well, I guess for many, many years I believed in the doctors, and I believed that they were giving us this medication to help us when really it's just a band aid that makes you sick, you know. So when this doctor said this to me, I started to really self reflect on the fact that my memory wasn't great, and that there's a lot of things in especially in my son's upbringing, that are kind of hazy to me. I mean, I remember probably 80% of it, but there's some that just not there. Um, I don't remember, and that's it's heartbreaking. So when all of this stuff started to flood in on me, and I started to realize that I wasn't living to my true potential, I was just kind of like a zombie, doing what I was supposed to do in the mind's eye and society's eye, and just going through the motions of everything. So after that time, I realized that I needed to change a lot in my life, and um, pharmaceuticals are hard to kick, right? So, and they're narcotics. So I had an addiction. I didn't really, like, I never used the pills to get high. I had never really even thought about that. But then after this doctor told that to me, I realized that I was high. I was high all the time, from the combination of the medication I was taking. So I internally worked through it, and then I asked my husband I told him I need to go out to the bush, just me and the dogs, and I need to heal myself and work through a bunch of stuff, right? Get off the pharmaceuticals. I was way overweight. I was like 165, 168 pounds. And I'm short. I'm like 5 foot. So I was like large. Um, I went up there, and at first I was scared, And my husband set me up with a beautiful compound, like 6 foot fencing all the way around, put in nicely on posts. I had my camper, which is where I slept with the dogs. I had an outbuilding. I had my garden area. I had my clothesline area. I had a lot. It was nicely set up. I had generators and propane stoves and white gas stoves and chainsaws and everything you can imagine. I had it. Even though my favorite tool was the Sawzall. I learned a lot about myself. At first, I was terrified to be up there, even though I had my huge dogs with me that I know would protect me indefinitely. Um, but myself, like believing in myself, right? You know, um, for the first, like, I went up there and it was still, I think there was still snow on the ground. And you got to keep that fire going all night, or you have to be confident in starting that fire in the morning. And of course, I got good at doing my kindling and having my stuff ready and my paper and making sure it was kept dry, and going out and looking for wood all during the day, so I had a nice supply every evening and for in the mornings, right? And just getting into the flow of it and the confidence in yourself. Every time you walk down to the river to get water, you feel a little bit more confident, like in your stepping, um, being more sure footed, to just being aware of your surroundings. And I learned so much about myself. I mean, I had some shitty things happen, that I learned a lot about. I say shitty because one of the things that happened was I was emptying my porta potty, and I would go down to this one area and I would dump it, and because the river is high at that time, I dumped it in the water. I mean, that's what I've always done all my life. So um, I kept my paper separate, but whatever, I dumped it. Well, I was dumping it and I fell in. I fell into like this area. This area where it had rocks built up so that it wouldn't rush too quickly. And I fell in. I puked. I yelled and screamed, not at anybody in particular other than myself because no one was there. And I really learned about personal responsibility and being more mindful and being more present in the things that we do, you know. And then, getting used to not having a bath, right? Well, that lasted like, I don't know, a month. And then I took a big tote and I emptied everything out of it and I turned that into my bath. I had the big pots of water, hot water, so I could make it perfect. And it was great. I exercised every morning. I got up feeling great. I did, and I still do. It's a type of fasting. It's one meal a day. I eat one meal a day, and I absolutely love it. My body loves it. My energy level, everything. So, and then being off all the pills, like all pharmaceuticals, my mind became so clear and so crisp, and my intentions and being more present and grateful and um, just in awe of all the creations around us. Um, I wasn't doing, when I was up there, I wasn't doing any meditating or anything at that time. And I had no Wi Fi up there. So I had certain music that was on my phone so I could, made it easier to exercise, I tell you. So I had a routine up there, and it was all about me. I had no one else to take care of. I had to do my laundry. I had to cook my meal. I had to make sure the fire was going. I had to exercise the dogs and feed and care for the dogs. I had to keep the camp clean and keep the camper clean. And it's funny because when I first got up there, when we were on our way up there with the camper, we had something covering the vent because the vent broke and it flew away. So I was up there for, I think, one day, and then it started raining, and I realized that the vent wasn't covered. So I had to, with this sawzall and a manual screwdriver, I built a ladder so I could climb up on top of the camper. And our truck is already lifted, so it's up there. I had to make a big ladder, just out of this extra wood, thank goodness, that was there, 2x4s and whatnot, from building the camp and stuff. So I had to build a ladder. Now, it wasn't a great ladder, and I don't recommend, like I only used it once. But it did the job. I built the ladder. It was great. Another thing happened. So on campers, you have these metal stairs. And when Kane was younger, because this is 5 years ago, he was a absolute klutz. Like, he's a very large dog, but he's a klutz, right? His footing and stuff. He's very awkward. So he was getting into the camper one time, and he fell through the stairs. So I had to pull him out, and he's heavy. He had his leg stuck in it, and it was kind of scary. But I got him out of it. Well, he wouldn't go back up the stairs. And it's like, oh my God, how am I going to get this guy into the camper, right? Because a dead lift, probably, I don't know, 160 pounds. I wasn't in the best shape in the beginning, so it wasn't an option for me. So I built stairs. I mean, they were shitty stairs. But they got us in and out of the camper, so it solved the problem with the dog and just made it a lot more comfortable. What else? But a couple nights in, I realized that the camper, where my camp was set up, was right on a game trail. So having the two dogs inside and then like bears and wolves and stuff to running right up beside the camper was a little intense. But my dogs are really well trained, especially the older one, Bear. So all I would tell him is to stop, and he would just be quiet. The other guy, every now and again, he would bark, which would get, the bear's attention, so it would come sniff around. And then both the dogs would start barking, and then the bear would leave. Thank goodness, knock on wood. Because, I mean, it could have gone really bad. But yeah, it was all about remembering who I was, and remembering that I have capabilities, and I have strengths, and I have confidence, and that I can do it. Like, I had no one to fall back on. I couldn't say, "Oh, this is too heavy for me," because if I wanted to move whatever that was, I had to be strong enough. I had to figure it out. Whether it was my rain barrel or firewood or rebuilding the fire pit, and I was breaking up these big, huge boulders because I wanted this beautiful fire pit. Anyways, I was up there for 3 months, and it was the best thing that ever happened to me. I had to leave the area in a split minute because of a forest fire that came in, and I had to leave the area. So I did leave a lot of my camp behind, which wasn't there, not due to the fire. The fire jumped the river, and the camp was fine, but nevertheless, it got dismantled by someone and taken away. So that was the end of that. But I would do it again in a heartbeat. And any of you that have the opportunity to really do something out of your comfort zone, that you're capable of. I knew I was capable of it. I grew up, we were always camping and 4x4ing and out in the back country, and, had pellet guns, and had, axes, and the things that we did when we were kids. We looked at like it was just what you do when you're camping with your family, but really those were all life skills that I know, I know, you know. So I want to encourage you guys to go outside your comfort zone and do things that you are capable of and that you've just forgotten all about. So that's my little story into my disappearing into the backcountry for 3 months to work through some personal issues and get back on track. And now it's been 5 years. I love it. I don't have to worry when it comes to medicinals and the different plants and stuff that I grow. I don't have to worry about contraindications with pharmaceuticals because I will never take another pharmaceutical in my life. And everything that I need, whether I have a sore back or whatever, anything that I need, everything that I need has been provided to us by God, growing all around us. We just have to pick up on the knowledge, learn the knowledge, and gain that confidence. I'm never going to be afraid of starving because there's food all around us all year long in different shapes and forms, and things that we can harvest in the summer months to tide us over for the winter months, things that are high in protein, things that are different medicines, and they're all a blessing to us. So I really want everybody to jump in with both feet into life, into medicinals, into learning your land, into teaching your kids and your friends and your neighbors, and teach people how to be self-sufficient and live off of what God has provided for us. Excuse me. It's so much healthier, you know? Like, I'm 55 now and I feel better. I feel healthier and stronger than I did when I was in my 30s, you guys. So, all these things. And getting proper sleep and drinking enough water and getting exercise and sunshine, these are all things that we have to do if we want to stay healthy and strong. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to live to like 180. That's what I'm going for anyway. So I'm not even halfway there yet. Anyways, I want to thank you guys for coming on my channel tonight and listening to my story about how I disappeared to find myself. Thank you so much for coming to my channel. I bless you. Bye-bye.